What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and job done. 2-1 win over West Ham. Kind of a nervous game just because I know West Ham could turn up at any time, and it kind of feels like they are a dangerous team, and if you're shutting off for a second, there's a good chance that they can hit you. So I like the fact that we managed to kind of put them to the sword early on, and even though we did give up a late one, it was still pretty much our game throughout. So first of all, just want to talk about the game in general. First half, mainly, it was almost like a sparring contest. Neither team really was all out. Honestly, West Ham had a lot more possession, but it was more like they were having possession top of the box. They weren't really creating anything dangerous. Whereas us, we were content with just sitting back and waiting for our chance to counter, and of course we got one of them in the goal. But for the most part, I mean, that was our play in the first half, was just counter, counter, counter. Second half, we started to control it a bit more, and then after we scored the goal, West Ham brought on some subs. Then West Ham had about 5 or 10 minutes where it's just like dangerous for us, and they're having a few really good chances. And then after that, they just kind of lost some of their steam. We had control for the rest of the game, one slip up and a goal. So let's talk about the goals. The first one, prime counterattacking play in my opinion. And honestly, we haven't really been counterattacking that much recently. You know, most of our goals have been well worked. We're moving the ball around. We're controlling the play. We haven't really had a great counterattack goal in a little while. This one was just prime, just pass, 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 goal. You know, that was all it took. So I think one of the things that was different about this counterattack in general is just the speed of it. Most of the time when our counterattack is happening in other games, and the reason it's not working as well recently, is because we always have that player that will get it and then cut back and take it backwards. And at that point, the counterattack is dead because now the 5 players that were just behind the attack are now behind the ball. So it's almost like you're kind of stopping the counterattack whenever you cut it back. This one, there was no cutback, there was no slowing down. It was just pass to Hazard. He passes it inside for Pedro, who first time, thank goodness, didn't screw it up. Passes it in behind. Hazard takes it around the keeper, slots it in. Easy as you like. The second goal, good corner kick goal, which it's kind of funny because before the game they were talking about, oh, West Ham dangerous on corners, West Ham dangerous on set pieces, and we get into the game and they had 7 corners, we had 4, and we scored on one of our corners. They maybe had one decent chance off of one of the corners, so it was kind of funny there, but very simple. Fabregas sends it in, it's over Cahill and David Luiz, but they put enough of a challenge into where the defender misses it. Costa's making a good run inside, loses Reed, off his thigh and in. Easy, as you like again. And then the last one, even for them, easy for them. And this one I do want to focus on a little bit because it is some of our defensive problems recently. You know, we've given up a lot of goals, a lot more than we were conceding earlier in the season. And part of it is because of what happens here. We have pass comes inside, and we're almost a little too relaxed sometimes on that inside pass, and sometimes it can go wrong. You know, one of their players steps in and wins it, or it's right to one of their players, and it's just kind of like, what was that for? So, yeah, I can't remember if it was Zuma or Spilicueta that played it in, but Fabregas was there, but it was like he was waiting for it to get to him, and Carroll was reading that, steps in, pokes it away, and then from there, there shouldn't be anything from it. There shouldn't be anything that comes of this because we've got 3 defenders back, and they've only got 3. You know, they've got 2 players, one on the ball, one outside, and then they've got a few behind, but we've got a few behind as well. So there shouldn't be any danger here. However, David Luiz is there in front of Ayew, and then Cahill, for some reason, leaves Lanzini to come in to support, which David Luiz was taking him the other way anyway, so it wasn't like, you know, if you were going to support him, you would be on the other side. So Zuma should have been the one supporting. But Cahill steps in like, oh no, I got to cover him, and leaves him wide open. Like, I understand you want to help your other teammate, but that's a one-on-one situation. You leave that man, that's a 1-on-0 situation. Now he's wide open, pass goes over to him, and he's got an easy shot. I just don't understand why Cahill does this so much, because it's a constant problem. It feels like there's so many times where the ball's in the middle, David Luiz is there, maybe Conte's stepping in as well. Here comes Cahill, and man wide open over here. So, what are you doing? What are you doing, Cahill? Stop it. You got to stay on your man. You can't let that man run free. Alonso is not back. He's not helping you right now, so you got to stay out there. You don't come in. And yet it continues to happen. And Conte's not making any changes. And Conte's not replacing him. And Conte's not telling him to do anything differently. The same Cahill. The same Cahill that I expect week after week. He's making mistakes defensively. He's giving the ball away cheaply at times. Why is this... I'm sorry, that's individuals. I'll get to that. Actually, let's go ahead and finish talking about that. But honestly, like, that was kind of his game tonight. It was simple mistakes defensively on the ball. Just simple mistakes here and there. And he does do some things right. You know, he does win certain balls that we need him to win. Sometimes he does keep things calm as far as the movement back there, just moving into a space so that there's an open outlet for the other defender to pass to. But Terry can do that too. Zuma, as far as I can tell, can do that too. But I don't see them making the same mistakes that Cahill makes. So it's almost like, yeah, Cahill does some stuff right, but you can also get a defender in there who's going to do those same things, but without the mistakes, without the silly, oh, I'm going to lose my head for a second, I'm going to go charging in and leave my guy wide open over there. I don't understand why Cahill continues to make mistakes and continues not to be punished for it, continues to just not see any consequences. I feel like at some point you have to say, okay, you've given up too many goals this season. Too many goals have come as a result of your lack of defending or your lack of knowledge of what you're doing. So you have to step aside, and in steps Terry, in steps Zuma, in steps Ake, somebody who's not going to make those same mistakes. So anyway, that's more individual stuff that I'll skip over him when we get there. So on to individuals. Courtois, didn't really have a whole lot to do today. Like I said, they didn't really create that much. They didn't really create any really good chances. They only had one shot on goal, and it was the goal. So yeah, he was kind of a bystander. And that goal, it's pretty much 101. He finds the back corner, so he didn't let it in near post. He did probably as much as he could have. I can't really blame him for that one. And on the corners, on the crosses, anything like that, he was always there. He was challenging. He was winning it. So he did help us out, even though they didn't get any shots on him. The other defenders, David Luiz and Spilicueta, fairly good today. David Luiz definitely showing why he's in there, constantly winning those crosses, constantly winning the header out, stuff like that. That's what he's in there for, and that's what he does very well, and he continues to do it. And so it's nice to see. Spilicueta, just that hard-working defender back there, always tracking. There was one little moment that I was just like, no, Spilicueta, no. And that was Noble fakes the cross and then just simple little cut, and Spilicueta jumps like he's about to block the cross. I'm like, oh. It's like seeing that one player that does everything right and then they make one mistake and everybody's going to be talking about that one mistake. That's kind of what it felt like. But onto the wingbacks, because honestly this is where it really surprised me the most. Because I've been talking about how Alonso is more of the defensive wingback and Moses is more of the attacking wingback. It's like in this game their roles were reversed. I remember more about Alonso going forward. He was taking some good crosses here and there. There was the one really great run he had. Overall, though, still not as effective as I think some other players would be out there, but that's beside the point. He was doing pretty well going forward, though. But defensively, he didn't really have to track back that much. And, he did okay doing that. But Moses was hardly involved going forward, but had, first of all, made one brilliant block that saved a goal. And also won quite a few headers where it's just like, oh no, they're sending it across to the back post, here we go again, and Moses is winning it. Moses is flicking it on. Moses is doing this or that. And I'm just like, wow. I was not expecting him to be our better defensive wingback tonight. So it was just, they both played pretty well. I would say of the two, I think Moses was probably a little bit more effective just because he looks more dangerous. Alonso doesn't have the same pace. So even though he is doing well going forward, it's like, yeah, that's a great run, but the defenders are getting back because you're not that quick. So we'll, take the good with the bad. I appreciate what he does. I appreciate the hard work that he does put in. But I still think that there are players that could probably take that position a little bit better. Into the midfield, Fabregas starts again, which I don't mind at all. I'm glad that Conte's starting to see he is really a good player to put in there. He's earning his time. He's working hard, and I love the fact that he's reaping the rewards of that. He set up he got the assist on the corner that Costa put in. So he does so well at finding that outlet ball, at finding the long ball that gets rid of the danger, or he'll find a simple pass that clears the danger. So it's always nice to have somebody in there like that. And then Conte, I mean, I don't know what else I can say about him that I haven't already said. I will say I heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true or not, but take from it what you will. Because one of the things I've talked about is his passing sometimes can be a little bit strange. It's like simple pass, and all of a sudden he's giving it away. Somebody said, and I think it was Hazard that said this, somebody said that he gives it away on purpose so he can boost his tackling percentage. That's a good theory. Because it feels like he gives the ball away, but he's winning it back, so it's okay. I don't know. It's kind of funny to think about because that's pretty much what happens. He gives it away, he wins it back, and his tackling percentage keeps going up. So, but yeah, he had another good game, another game where he's just controlling the midfield on the defensive side. He's running people down. They can't have a free moment because he's in there. He's on them. So that's always nice to see. Going forward, Hazard and Pedro both played pretty well. Pedro still making those mistakes, still those passes that should be simple, or those moments where we're having a good break and then all of a sudden one misplaced pass or one bad touch and it's gone. And most of the time he's the cause of it. There are other times where other players are the reason why the counterattack broke down or the attack broke down. But Pedro seems to be the one that happens to the most. And I don't know why. I don't know, like I've said before, I think he is a little bit small. So maybe some of it is the strength factor. It's hard for him to keep the ball whenever a challenge comes in. But then you look at his passing. His passing sometimes can be a little bit sloppy. So I don't know. He did enough tonight to make it an average game for him. But I was glad that he was the first one that came off because of everybody out there. I think he was probably our least effective player. And then Hazard, I mean, he has reinvented the term back pass. I don't know if you guys saw that, but oh my gosh. I was like, I couldn't help but laugh. It was so funny. Like it was amazing. It was incredible. Fabregas chips it up to him. He looks over his shoulder. There's Conte running behind him. So he just ducks his back into it and lets it bounce off his back right into Conte's path. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, freaking pass from his back. Like I said, reinventing the term back pass no longer means passing it back to your keeper. It now means Hazard's little back pass. Oh, it was just watching him play. There's so many times where I'm just like, this is Hazard. This is the Hazard that I'm used to. This is the Hazard that I love to see play game after game. He's doing inventive stuff. He's beating people. Yeah, there was one moment later on in the game where Snodgrass, it looked like maybe he had him, and all of a sudden turned gone, and it's just like Snodgrass is like, crap. It's like, it was brilliant. But yeah, so Hazard, another great game. Costa had his moments. You could see there are times when he's working hard. He's trying to win the ball back. On the ball, there are times when he holds it up well, but then there are the moments where he's not holding it up well, or he's dribbling into pressure, or the ball goes past him and he could stick a foot out, but it's like he's not turned on. It's just like, what are you doing, Costa? So he's having good moments here and there, but I think if he had these moments throughout the entire game, I think he'd have a lot more going for him. He'd have a lot more goals to his belt. But onto the subs. I didn't mind any of the subs. They were all fairly good. You got Matic coming in for Pedro, which I really like whenever he changes it to the 3-5-2. You've got Matic comes into the midfield with Fabregas and Conte. So you got those three in the middle, and then you got kind of Hazard and Costa up top. It's not been effective as far as our goal scoring is concerned, but it provides a lot more numbers coming back. They're just so much more protection back there, and I don't know. I think if they wanted to go with that, if they wanted to use that, if Pedro or Willian were unavailable, or both of them were unavailable, I think it would be effective. But maybe not. Maybe that's just my hope. But I really do like whenever that happens. Willian comes on for Hazard, probably giving him a bit of a rest for the Man U game next week. Just I heard that he had a bit of a knock and in training, so there's a possibility that he's still recovering from that. Conte probably wanted to give him some time to rest. And then the last one is one that we've seen for a couple weeks now. Zuma comes in, and he's getting time. He's getting time in there. He's being allowed to play. He's being allowed to get that recovery in. However, I did think that coming in for Moses may not have been the right choice. I thought it might have been, he comes in for Alonzo, and then you've got Espilicueta and Moses on the left and right. Just because, I don't know, Moses, like I said, was doing so much more defensively than Alonzo was. I would thought it was strange that Moses was the one to come out, but for what it was, I'm glad to see Zuma getting some time. He is one of our best young center backs right now, so I'm hoping he continues to progress, continues to recover from that injury. And, all of them, Matic comes in, does pretty well in the midfield. He does what he normally does. He wins the ball. He's that big body in the middle that will win it for you, poke it away, and then also he's got a bit of speed on him. He's got those long, lanky legs that he can use and just take off down the field. Willian, he's still recovering, I think, from that long hiatus away from the game. You can see those moments where the ball comes in, and it feels like old William would have just gone and beaten the guy easily. But this William right now is just he's a bit slower. He's not as quick with his touch. His pass is a little bit off. So he and Pedro both have their issues right now. So I could see both of them playing. But I still think William should be tried out at the wing back position. I still think he would be more effective there than he is as one of those in behind the striker players. And then the last one, Zuma, I didn't see anything really wrong with him. He played okay defensively, did well. He's still got a good bit of speed. He's still got that height, so he can beat people in the air. So it may become something where we see Zuma does start to take in that as one of those three center backs, maybe taking Espilicueta's place, and Espilicueta moves out right. I don't know if I want to see that just because Moses has done so well there, and I see Espilicueta as a better center back than he is a wing back. But I would understand that just because he's got more height, he's got more ability to beat strikers like Andy Carroll in the air. So I don't know where that's going, but I do wonder if that's what Conte's trying to do right now. The final thing to talk about is I was a little disappointed in the fact that Ake and Chalobah were neither on the bench. I don't know why. I need to go look up and see what's going on there, if they were both injured or if Conte just decided to leave them out. And part of that is also because Loftus-Cheek was on the bench. And if you guys have heard me talk about him before, I understand he's one of our hottest youth prospects at the moment. Honestly, I think he's a bit lazy. So I'm wondering why, Chalobah has consistently made the bench for most of this season. So the fact that he wasn't on it today just seemed kind of strange to me. That all of a sudden he just dropped out of nowhere. So I have to wonder, how he and Ake are doing, if they're both sick or injured, or if they were, I don't know if there was a development squad game today that they played in. But I was a little disappointed not to see them on the bench. But that's the last thing to talk about. The rest of it, it was a good enough game. It was solid. We got our 3 points. We didn't keep the clean sheet, unfortunately, but it was still a solid game. We still controlled it. We still look the best team in the league. We're not having any silly slip-ups. So that's always nice. It's always fun to see that we still got it pretty much. We still got it going on. We still have our groove. We know what we're doing. It's just so nice to see the team playing so well together. They know where the runs are being made. They know each other. They know what they're doing. Yeah, we look like we're ready to win the league, and I'm definitely ready to win the league. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who's your man of the match today? Who did you think stood out as kind of the worst player? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you at the next game. Peace out.